Now, students in grades K through 12 have gone through a lot over the past couple years between COVID restrictions, ever-changing mask mandates, debates now over critical race theory, and the newly introduced Don't Say Gay bill in Florida. All these heavy topics are impacting students' mental health. I sat down for a one-on-one with Secretary of Education Miguel Cardona to discuss all this and more. Here's what he had to say. I think we still don't know, of course, the full impact of COVID in so many facets of life, including in the classroom. But I mean, some indications so far are not good. Several new studies show that about a third of children in the youngest grades have fallen severely behind in reading. First and second graders are needing to relearn kindergarten curriculum. Right. How concerned should we be about this? And is it possible to make that up?
Well, you know, it's clear that the impact of the pandemic, we're going to still see effects of it for years to come. We need to make sure that we're building our schools back better than they were before. You know, the American Rescue Plan, $130 billion, they're out there now. Every state has their money. How are we making sure that those students have additional hours for school or good summer programming or smaller class sizes so that they can get that attention that they need? But I also want to focus on the social emotional piece too, right?
Oh, yeah.
Students were behind a laptop for a year, and it prevented their ability to engage with one another. So as we're thinking about catching students up, we should also be thinking about how to make sure that those interpersonal skills are being developed appropriately and that they have opportunities to engage with one another.
For parents who watched up close what they felt their child was or maybe wasn't learning, maybe they felt that burden on themselves to essentially act as teacher and felt they don't know if they did a good job or not. How would you reassure them about their child's education moving forward? You
know, parents were like miracle workers over the last 2 years. You know, I've had conversations with parents in my visits to different states. They had to work full time. They had to help their children, especially the younger ones, with school because they needed that support. So parents have the right to ask a lot of questions and to be engaged in what schools look like. We need to do a better job making sure that the parents' voice is part of how we're thinking about spending these funds to improve schools.
You've condemned the Don't Say Gay bill, and you said schools receiving federal funding must allow federal civil rights law, including Title IX's protections against discrimination based on sexual orientation and gender identity. Given that you said that, do you believe this bill breaks the law? Where do you think we're at?
I had a chance to talk to Florida students, parents, and teachers. And one parent, Jennifer, said it best: stop using my child as a political pawn. But everyone on the call, and these are Floridians, said the intent here is to pick on and marginalize an already vulnerable group. And it's bullying. I heard a teacher tell me, a teacher who is gay, I can't even put up a family picture in my classroom now for fear that my children will be targeted because they have two moms. That's unacceptable in the United States of America. You know, you could veil it as a parents' rights bill. If you want to give parents rights, ask parents to talk about how to spend that $7 billion that's sitting there that our students need for the mental health supports. Let's get our parents engaged in that conversation in Florida. I do believe parents need more rights. I do believe parents need to have more voice. But let's not masquerade. What we're doing is marginalizing a group that needs our support. But it's bigger than Florida. There's over a dozen states that are doing something similar. And I really feel it's my responsibility as Secretary of Education to let those students know that we're behind them, that we're going to stand behind them, their families, the teachers, to make sure that they have a good experience and that they're not being marginalized before they walk into the classroom.
By doing what? What will you do about these? And as you mentioned, it's unrolling in potentially dozens of states.
Right. So we're engaging with those families, lifting up their voice, using my position to talk about the importance of inclusion, making sure that we're going after states that are doing things that are pushing students aside. We do have the Office of Civil Rights, but we also have an opportunity to reach out to them publicly, challenge what they're doing, reach out to their state leaders, legislative leaders, and work with our allies across the country to make sure we're bringing attention to support students.
Let's talk about critical race theory in classrooms. Critical race theory, CRT, has become this buzzword across the country. What do you think about the approach to race in the classroom and the particular lightning rod that this theory has become?
It's my opinion that these are generated to be the boogeymen, to create division in our schools. So to me, those are fabricated to try to detract from the conversation about how our schools are open, how we have more money to support our students. I want the perspectives of people that don't agree with me. That's what makes a better school, and that's what makes a better community, when all people feel heard. But at the end of the day, we're going to fight for what's right for our students, and that includes, in this case, making sure that they're learning about the history of our country and that they see people that look like them in the materials that they're reading.
What do you think about the extremities that this has gone to in some places, the total politicization of school board races even? Yeah. I mean, parents funding races like super PACs. What do you think when you see that in our education system right now?
I think as a country, we've experienced trauma together, and you're not seeing, not only in board meetings are you seeing it, the reality is there's a lot of fatigue and a lot of frustration over what was missed over the last 2 years. But I really do believe schools are places that bring people together. I believe that parents should have a right to go to a board meeting and express how they feel. Civility must prevail, but democracy is that. It's coming together with different ideas. And I think that's such an important principle in this country, that we must preserve it even when it's under attack in some places.
Let's talk just quickly about masking in classrooms. How do you feel about where we are at with the latest CDC guidance?
I'm happy that we're off-ramping carefully. We can't be paralyzed by the pandemic. We can't, especially because the disproportionality of impact. We have to keep our schools open. We have to make sure that we're catching our students up and giving them more opportunities. So for me, it's really important. But at the same time, in the same breath, I'm going to tell you, we're not out of the woods. There are some students who are immunocompromised, students with disabilities that maybe are very fragile, that we must continue to protect.
We've just talked about a lot of heavy stuff, learning loss, Don't Say Gay bill, critical race theory, the pandemic. All of this has just hit all of us so hard, and all indications are that students are not doing well. What are we going to do about the mental health of students after years of being apart, after years of missing life milestones?
For the last 2 years, I was worried about COVID. For the next 2 years, I'm worried about complacency. We can't go back to what it was before, where we weren't building our schools with enough mental health supports. We didn't have the funding. Right now, we do have more funds to get this going, but it's going to require more than American Rescue Plan funds to make sure that we sustain the mental health supports that we know our students need.
In that same vein, I also asked the secretary about the fact that college enrollment rates are dropping. He said they are, that's true, and he's concerned about it. He said what he wants to do is evolve high schools and do so quickly so that there's more career opportunities, more college experience exposure earlier on in that time period.
So he thinks there is a solution to that?
Yeah, and he actually says that for him, it's going to be reimagining education as a whole. And I said, well, how? And are you really going to do that? He said, yes, I'm talking internships in high school, really bringing that exposure right away. And he says he has a plan where that's what he's really going to be doing. And it's a huge focus for him right now.
All right, something to keep an eye on. Thanks, Savannah.
Exactly.
Appreciate that. Good interview.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.